Most of us who have lived in the Ozarks in more recent times probably didn't grow up hearing a lot of monster stories, but if you would have been born 100 years ago, that would be a very different story.
One of the more colorful of the old Ozarks monster-type creatures was something called the Snawfus.
The Snawfus is usually described as a white deer with tree branches in place of its antlers. In some stories, it even has wings, but depending on who you talk to, there are several different versions of what it actually looks like.
People would often see it flying up, in the tops of trees. And in some places, the Snawfus was supposed to be a huge animal, not just a normal-sized deer, but a really, really big deer. And the legend was that it would take a bird several days to fly from one side to the other side of its tree limb antlers. It was so big.
Although it sounds like it could be a creature out of a Dr. Seuss book, the Snawfus was considered to be a bad omen for anyone unfortunate enough to see it.
If you ever see a Snawfus in the wild, you're soon to die soon after. So it's not going to kill you, but just seeing it means that you're not long for this world.
How do you know if the Snawfus has been afoot near you?
The Snawfus was also responsible for the blue haze that we sometimes see in mornings in the Ozarks, because the Snawfus, when it breathed out, it would breathe out a sort of blue haze.
If you're wondering about the origin of the Snawfus, that story is just as unique as the legend itself.
One Ozark legend is that a hunter ran out of ammunition and used plum seeds in his shotgun and saw an albino deer when he was out hunting and shot it and hit it in the head and didn't kill it, but it ran off, and then plum branches grew out of its head instead of antlers.
Like many other Ozarks tales, the Snawfus is another in a long line of stories that date back hundreds of years and originate in other parts of the world.
They're sort of regional variations of old dragon stories or just old monster stories that were brought over from the old country. So instead of dragons, you get giant buzzard-like birds, giant lizards, or albino, white-tailed deer, things that sort of relate to local areas.